please subscribe to my channel. The evening of Sarah's work party wasn't supposed to be about me. It was about her. She had been talking about it for weeks, excited about a major opportunity to connect with colleagues and senior executives at her marketing firm. My role was straightforward. I was there to be the supportive husband beside her, not the center of attention. I wore a well-tailored suit, carried myself with quiet confidence, and prepared to let her enjoy the spotlight. As we entered the venue, music blended with laughter and conversations from every corner. Sarah seemed to glow as she greeted familiar faces, introducing me whenever necessary. Most people offered polite handshakes and casual small talk, the usual pleasantries you'd expect at an event like this. Then Daniel appeared, tall, self-assured, and wearing the smug half-grin of a man who believed the room belonged to him. He shook my hand with a grip that seemed designed to communicate more than words, firm enough to feel like a challenge. "So, you're Sarah's husband?" he asked, as though I had somehow wandered into a place where I didn't belong. I kept my expression neutral. "That's right." His eyes moved over me from head to toe, a smirk tugging at his lips. "Must be nice, not having to worry about the grind while your wife's out here climbing the ladder." The insult was subtle, but the arrogance behind it was obvious. I felt Sarah tense beside me. I didn't take the bait. Men like Daniel lived for reactions, and I wasn't going to give him one. But Daniel wasn't someone who stopped simply because he was being ignored. Over the next 30 minutes, his little comments became increasingly pointed. He joked that I must have married above my station, suggested Sarah deserved someone more ambitious, and implied that I probably couldn't understand what it took to compete in a cutthroat environment. Every remark carried just enough bite to make the people nearby shift awkwardly. They gave forced laughs, but everyone understood what he was trying to do. Sarah repeatedly tried to redirect the conversation, but Daniel always brought it back as if he were determined to get beneath my skin. Finally, with a glass in his hand and far too much alcohol behind his words, he leaned closer and delivered the statement he'd clearly been working toward. "In crowds like this, it's survival of the fittest. Not everyone can handle it. Some people just fade into the background." He looked at Sarah as he said it, almost as if he were testing where her loyalty stood. That was his mistake. I slowly placed my drink down and met his eyes. My voice remained calm and even. "You're right, Daniel. Not everyone can handle a competitive environment. But here's the thing. I spent the last 10 years thriving in one that makes this look like child's play." His head tilted slightly, skepticism flickering across his face. "Oh yeah? Doing what?" I allowed a small, measured smile to appear. "Special forces, a decade, multiple deployments overseas. After that, private security consulting for high-profile clients. My job wasn't about office politics or corporate games. It was about outthinking and outperforming people whose full-time mission was to end me. So forgive me if your version of competition doesn't impress me much." For the first time that evening, Daniel's confident grin cracked. The color seemed to drain from his face as silence settled over the group around us. A few nervous chuckles moved through the circle, but Daniel had clearly lost his footing. He muttered something about only joking and quickly looked away, suddenly far more interested in his drink than in me. Sarah squeezed my hand beneath the table, and I could feel the gratitude in her touch. I had remained composed until it mattered, and now the balance had completely shifted. For the rest of the evening, Daniel kept his distance. Whenever our paths crossed, the arrogance in his voice was gone. Instead, he spoke with cautious politeness, almost with respect. The people who had witnessed the exchange seemed more curious about me, asking questions about my work and travels. I kept my answers vague. This wasn't my stage, and I hadn't spoken to show off. I'd only reminded one man that appearances can be deceiving. Later, as we walked toward the car, Sarah chuckled quietly. "You didn't have to tell him everything," she teased. I looked at her with a grin. I didn't tell him everything. Just enough. During the drive home, I thought about how quickly people judge others based on appearances. Daniel had looked at me and seen someone ordinary, someone he could mock without consequences. What he hadn't understood was that the most capable people rarely advertise what they're capable of. They don't need to. And that night I was perfectly content to let him learn that lesson firsthand. Afterward, whenever I attended Sarah's office gatherings, Daniel's behavior became almost comical. He was overly polite, constantly cautious, and always gave me a wide berth, as though he still couldn't decide exactly how much he didn't know about me. I never held a grudge, but I doubt Daniel ever forgot the night he realized just how badly he had underestimated me.